Look, nobody joins the Galactic Academy thinking they're going to end up as a janitor. But here I was, Cadet Jake Morrison, humanity's gift to the stars, armed with a microfiber cloth and a spray bottle of something that smelled like regret mixed with antiseptic. The Forbidden Archive was exactly as exciting as it sounds. Imagine a warehouse the size of Manhattan, floating in space, filled with artifacts so dangerous that the galaxy's solution was to stick them in storage and hope really hard that nobody touched anything. My job was to dust them. Dust. Items that could theoretically end civilizations. With a cloth. Commander Vreltok, my supervisor, was a Karathi with 4 arms and 0 sense of humor. He treated the safety manual like it was a sacred text, which meant every morning started with a 40-minute briefing about proper dusting techniques. Today's lecture was about maintaining a respectful distance from Item 7-419, also known as the sphere that must not be disturbed under any circumstances whatsoever. So help us all. Cadet Morrison, Vreltok said, all 4 of his eyes narrowing in that way that suggested he was already disappointed in me. This artifact predates most known civilizations. It has remained dormant for 10,000 years. Your task is simple. Exterior cleaning only. No touching, no prodding, no breathing directly on it. Got it, I said. The sphere and I will maintain a professional relationship. This is not humor time, human. 17 expeditions have tried to activate this relic. 3 resulted in minor spatial anomalies. 2 caused diplomatic incidents. 1 ended with a 6-month quarantine of the entire sector. What happened to the other 12? Nothing, which is somehow worse. Vreltok handed me the cleaning supplies with all 4 hands like he was presenting me with explosive materials. The sphere simply sits there, waiting, mocking us with its silence. I looked at the thing. It was perfectly smooth, black as space itself, about the size of a beach ball, sitting on a pedestal under approximately 9,000 warning holograms. Real threatening. Sure. Don't worry, Commander, I'm humanity's least impressive representative. If this thing's been waiting for someone special, it's going to keep waiting. Vreltok made a sound like a sigh mixed with a prayer. I will be monitoring from the observation deck. Do not do anything human. And that right there should have been my first clue that things were about to go spectacularly wrong. 20 minutes into the most boring task in galactic history, I was already losing my mind. You can only stare at a black sphere for so long before your brain starts looking for entertainment. Unfortunately, my brain's idea of entertainment was remembering every embarrassing song I'd ever heard. I started humming without thinking about it. Just a little tune to break the silence. Something from Earth's golden age of absolutely terrible power ballads. You know the type. Big hair, bigger emotions, lyrics that made no sense but felt important anyway. The sphere flickered. I stopped humming. Looked at the sphere. It sat there, perfectly still, doing exactly what it had done for 10 millennia. Nothing. Okay, Morrison. You're seeing things. Too much recycled air. I went back to dusting, started humming again. Old habits. The sphere definitely flickered that time. A ripple of purple light across its surface, there and gone like it was camera shy. Commander? I tapped my comm unit. Question. Is the sphere supposed to do anything? No. Vreltok's voice came through at maximum volume. The sphere does nothing, that is its primary characteristic, doing nothing. Right, except it just did something. Kinda glowy. Very brief. Silence on the comm. Then the sound of Vreltok moving very quickly. The sphere pulsed again, brighter this time. Purple light swirled under its surface like storm clouds. And then, because the universe has a terrible sense of humor, every alarm in the archive started screaming. Vreltok burst through the door, all 4 arms flailing. What did you do? Nothing. I was just cleaning and humming and humming. He looked at me like I'd just admitted to juggling antimatter. You made auditory vibrations at the Sphere of Eternity? Is that its actual name? Because that's pretty dramatic for something that just sits there. The sphere chose that moment to project a beam of light directly at my face. Symbols appeared in the air, alien writing that shifted and changed. The universal translator in my earpiece crackled to life. Keep going, it said, but with more feeling. Vreltok and I stared at each other. Did the 10,000-year-old apocalypse sphere just critique my humming? I asked. This is unprecedented. Professor Nimbala rushed in, nearly tripping over her own tail. She was a Velosian, which meant she looked like someone crossed a lizard with a university professor and gave them too much caffeine. The sphere is communicating. After millennia, this is the most significant archaeological event in galactic history. It told me to hum better. Keep humming. Nimbala pulled out about 6 different scanning devices. Whatever you were doing, continue doing it. Are we sure that's a good idea? Vreltok's translator helpfully added a note of panic to his words. The sphere pulsed impatiently. More symbols appeared. The translator interpreted them as waiting, performance inadequate, require improvement or cancellation of activation sequence. It's going to turn off if I stop, I said. It might explode if you continue, Vreltok countered. Only one way to find out. I took a breath and continued the song, trying to remember lyrics I'd heard exactly once at a very regrettable karaoke night. The sphere began to glow steadily. The symbols changed to what the translator interpreted as a thumbs up. From somewhere in the archive, someone else screamed. Probably because the most dangerous artifact in the sector was now having a disco light show powered by my terrible singing. This was going to be a long day. Word spread across the galaxy faster than light, probably because someone posted it on the galactic net with the headline, "Human activates Death Sphere with off-key singing, situation developing." Within 2 hours, the archive was surrounded by ships, dignitaries, scholars, military commanders, and probably a few journalists looking for a good disaster story. All of them had opinions about what I should sing next. The sphere clearly responds to mathematical harmonics, insisted Ambassador Queth, a Zentari who looked like a very serious mushroom. You must sing in perfect pitch, following the Zentari scales of traditional war chants. Absolutely not, Professor Nimbala countered. The sphere predates the Zentari by millennia. It's responding to emotional resonance, not mathematical precision. I think it just likes music, I offered. Nobody listened. I'd been experimenting for the past hour. Classical music made the sphere glow soft blue. Rock music made it vibrate, which terrified everyone. Country music made it dim, like it was disappointed in humanity's life choices. The best part was that I couldn't stop. Every time I paused for more than 30 seconds, the sphere started pulsing red, and the translator spat out messages that ranged from performance incomplete to hostile action detected, defensive measures considered. So I was stuck in the galaxy's worst concert, performing for an audience of one very judgmental ancient artifact. An emergency council had formed in the observation deck, representatives from every major galactic power, all arguing about what this meant. The Corthan Imperium thought the sphere was a weapon. The Velosian Collective insisted it was a library. The Zentari Federation was pretty sure it was a test that they'd already passed thousands of years ago, and were very upset that humans got credit for it. I'm just saying, General Thaxmore announced, his 3 heads nodding in unison. Destroying the sphere before it fully activates would solve many problems. It would also potentially destroy this entire sector, Nimbala shot back. A sacrifice I'm willing to make. You're not in this sector, General. I cycled through my mental playlist. 99 bottles of beer on the wall made the sphere pulse with what I could only interpret as confusion. A sea shanty got it swirling with colors. A lullaby my mom used to sing made it glow warm gold. Cadet Morrison, Vreltok approached carefully like I might explode along with the sphere. You have been singing for 2 hours. Do you require sustenance? I require this nightmare to end, but lunch works too. The Council wishes to know if you can make the sphere reveal its purpose. The sphere hasn't told me anything except that my pitch is flat and I need to enunciate better. I think it might be a music teacher from hell. The sphere pulsed and new symbols appeared. The translator hesitated, then offered, "Close. Continue searching. Time limit approaching." Time limit? Everyone in the observation deck yelled simultaneously. What happens when the time limit expires? I asked the sphere. The symbols changed. Disappointment, shutdown, another 10,000 years of waiting. Potential minor explosive decompression of immediate area. How minor? This deck only. Probably. 63% certainty. Well, I said, at least it's honest. Professor Nimbala had been working nonstop, analyzing every symbol the sphere produced. At hour 3 of my impromptu concert, she finally had a breakthrough. "It's a test," she announced, bursting into the chamber with her tail vibrating with excitement. The sphere was left by the precursors. You know, the ones who supposedly seeded the galaxy with impossible challenges, just to mess with younger species. "Fantastic," I said between verses. "What kind of test?" "That's the problem. Every previous civilization approached it with logic, mathematics, force, diplomatic overtures. One group tried to negotiate with it for 6 months. And? It never responded, just sat there. But you sang at it like it was perfectly normal to serenade ancient artifacts, and it woke up." The sphere pulsed in what I was starting to recognize as approval. "So what does it want?" Nimbala pulled up holographic translations. "Best I can determine, it's testing for something the precursors called creative authenticity. The ability to make art not because you need to, but because you want to, because it makes you feel something." "Humans do that all the time," I said. "We make music about everything. Love, loss, pizza. That one time someone cut us off in traffic." "Pizza?" "It's a food very important to us. There are multiple songs." The sphere brightened considerably. New symbols appeared. Species demonstrates appropriate irrationality. Continue evaluation. The council members in the observation deck started talking all at once. I caught fragments of their argument. This could mean access to precursor technology. "We should coordinate humanity's response. The Zentari Federation demands equal access to..." "If Morrison sings the Corthan anthem, the sphere might..." "Everyone shut up." I surprised myself with the volume. The council fell silent. Even the sphere seemed to pause. "I've been singing for 3 hours. I'm tired. I'm hungry. And I'm not going to turn this into a political thing." "Cadet Morrison," Ambassador Queth's voice dripped with the kind of condescension that suggested he thought I was too stupid to understand the situation. "This is already a political thing. That sphere potentially contains technology that could shift the balance of galactic power. You must cooperate with proper authorities." "Or what? You'll make me stop singing, and we all find out if 63% certainty of minor explosions is accurate." Freltalk made a sound like he was trying not to laugh. Or maybe he was having a breakdown. Hard to tell. The sphere pulsed again. More symbols. "Test subject demonstrates autonomy. Promising. Prepare for final evaluation." "Final evaluation?" I looked at Nimbala. "What does that mean?" She checked her scanners and her tail stopped moving. "Never a good sign. It means the sphere is about to ask you to prove humanity deserves whatever is inside it. And if I fail, then it goes back to sleep for another 10,000 years, and possibly takes this deck with it. No pressure then." The sphere's glow intensified. Symbols flooded the air around me. The translator worked overtime, spitting out fragments. "Final test commencing. Requirement: 1 performance. Must represent species essence. Must demonstrate creative spirit. Must be authentic. Must be memorable. Judgment will be rendered. Choose wisely." Every eye in the archive was on me. Hundreds of aliens, representing dozens of species, all waiting to see what I'd do. And I had absolutely no idea what to sing. "Okay," I said, buying time. "Let me get this straight. You want one song that represents all of humanity." The sphere pulsed once. "Affirmative." "That's impossible. Humans can't agree on anything. We've been arguing about what counts as proper pizza for centuries." "Perhaps a traditional Earth anthem," suggested Ambassador Queth. "Something dignified, representative of your species' highest achievements. Our anthem is about a flag surviving a battle. We once tried to make another song the anthem because the first one is too hard to sing. That failed." The sphere flickered with what I swear was amusement. "Classical music, then," offered another council member. Your species produced Mozart, Beethoven, also produced a song called Who Let the Dogs Out that nobody can escape. It's been stuck in humanity's collective head for 200 years. Vreltok approached the barrier. Cadet Morrison. May I speak freely? Commander, nothing about this situation is official anymore. Speak away. I have studied human culture extensively. Required reading for anyone supervising your species. You are deeply frustrating, chaotic, and illogical. He paused. You also create art about everything, sadness, joy, food, weather. That thing you call traffic. You make beauty out of mundane existence. Your point? My point is that perhaps the sphere is not looking for your best, it is looking for your truth. The sphere pulsed bright gold. The translator chimed in with, Supervisor demonstrates wisdom. Recommendation accepted. Test subject should proceed with authentic selection. Great, I muttered. No pressure. Just represent the entire human species with one song. I thought about Earth. About the music that actually meant something to humanity, not because it was sophisticated or impressive, but because it was ours. The songs we sang in cars and showers, the ones we hummed without thinking, the embarrassing ones we loved anyway. And then it hit me. Professor Nimbala, do humans have a reputation in the galaxy? She blinked her large eyes. You are known for being persistent, creative, somewhat reckless, prone to forming emotional attachments to things that should not be emotional. And you have an alarming tendency to pack bond with anything including robots and dangerous fauna. We're the weird ones. Enthusiastically, yes. The sphere was waiting. I could feel its attention, ancient and patient and curious. All right, I said. You want humanity? You want what makes us special? Here it is. We're ridiculous. We create art about nothing. We make music because we're bored or sad or happy or because it's Tuesday. We take ourselves seriously and not seriously at all. We're walking contradictions. And somehow, we make it work. The sphere brightened. So I'm not going to sing you our greatest hit. I'm going to sing you our most human song, actually songs, because we can't pick just one. Cadet Morrison. Quith started. Nope, too late. The sphere and I have an understanding now. And I began to sing a medley of Earth's most absurd, catchy, impossible to justify musical moments. The songs you hate to love, the ones that get stuck in your head, the commercial jingles, the cartoon theme songs, the one-hit wonders, the memes that became music. I sang about wanting it that way. I sang about letting it go. I sang about chocolate rain and shooting stars and a duck walking up to a lemonade stand. I threw in sea shanties and video game music and that one song about the end of the world that somehow becomes a party anthem. The sphere went wild. Colors I didn't have names for swirled across its surface. The symbols multiplied, changing faster than the translator could keep up. The council members stared in horror. Vreltok was definitely laughing now. And somewhere in the Forbidden Archive, an ancient precursor artifact was having the time of its very long existence. When I finally finished, my throat was raw, and I was pretty sure I'd traumatized at least 3 species. The sphere went dark for a moment, and everyone held their breath. Then it erupted with light. Not dangerous light, but something warm and bright and almost joyful. The symbols that appeared were different now, more complex. The translator struggled for a moment before settling on a message. Test complete. Species evaluation. Sufficiently absurd. Appropriately chaotic. Demonstrates required lack of self-importance. Precursor heritage granted. We passed? I asked. Highest marks in 10,000 years. Previous attempts too serious. Too logical. Too focused on proving worthiness. Subject species understands fundamental truth. Existence is inherently ridiculous. Embrace of absurdity is mark of wisdom. The sphere began to sink into its pedestal, but not before projecting one final massive hologram. Images of precursor technology filled the air. Ships, weapons, power sources, all of it there for the taking. The council members surged forward. Then the hologram changed. The technology faded, replaced by a single item. A coffee maker. What? Said General Thaxmore slowly. Is that? Advanced beverage synthesis device, the sphere announced. Precursor legacy, capable of producing optimal caffeinated drinks. Precise temperature control, never bitter, always perfect. Humanity has earned this knowledge. Silence filled the archive. That's it? Ambassador Queth's voice was very small. 10,000 years, all this. For coffee? Not just coffee, the sphere corrected. Perfect coffee. Previous species would misuse weapons, would abuse power sources. Coffee machine, however, brings only joy. Humanity demonstrates appropriate priorities. Congratulations, try the espresso setting. The sphere went dormant, just like that. 10 millennia of waiting, and it gave us a really good coffee recipe. The council members looked like they were going through the 7 stages of grief simultaneously. Nimbala started laughing first, then Vreltok, then me. Soon the entire observation deck was filled with the sound of various species processing the absurdity of what just happened. The precursors, Nimbala managed between laughs, left behind the ultimate test, and the prize for passing was the most human thing possible. They gave us coffee, I said. They really understood us. 3 weeks later, I found myself with a new job title, Earth's Cultural Ambassador, which sounded impressive until you realized it meant teaching aliens about human music and explaining why we create art about sandwiches. The Galactic Council had officially recognized humanity as precursor heirs, which meant exactly nothing except we got a fancy certificate and some very complicated treaty negotiations. The coffee maker design, however, became the most valuable piece of technology in the galaxy. Turns out every species appreciated a good caffeine boost. We'd united the galaxy through beverages. Very on brand for humanity. I was back in the Forbidden Archive, but this time as a lecturer. About 30 alien students sat before me, notepads ready, faces skeptical. Today, I announced, we're going to discuss Earth music. Specifically why humans created 17 different songs about a single dance called the Macarena. One student raised a tentacle. Is it because the dance holds spiritual significance? Nope, it's catchy. That's it. That's the whole reason. Humans are very strange, the student muttered. You have no idea, I agreed. Now who wants to learn about sea shanties? As the class dissolved into chaos, with aliens attempting to clap along to rhythms they didn't understand, I looked over at the now dormant sphere of eternity. It sat there, silent and dark, but I could swear it was satisfied. Somewhere in the archive, another ancient artifact waited, probably with an equally ridiculous test. I made a mental note to avoid singing near any more mysterious objects. Then again, where's the fun in that?